Okay, so welcome to the deep dive, where we like to really get into a topic instead of like, just skimming the surface,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Today we are diving deep into Anne Hooper's Kama Sutra. And I know what you're thinking. You're
Mhm.
thinking crazy positions and all that.
Right.
But before we go there, we're going to like really set the stage,
Yeah.
historically and culturally.
Yeah.
Because this book is like so much more than just a how-to manual, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. It really is.
So you came here wanting knowledge, and we're going to give it to you in a way that is, quick
Yes.
and insightful, right to the point.
Yeah.
No rambling.
Efficiently delivered.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the Kama Sutra, we're actually talking about like this whole conversation across time. It's not just one
He
book.
broke a collection of wisdom.
Exactly. So we're looking at the Kama Sutra itself,
Mm-hmm.
but also the Anangaranga, the
Yeah.
perfumed garden,
Yes.
even the text.
Absolutely all interwoven.
And it's fascinating because while, they do touch on the physical intimacy part,
Of course.
they also go so much deeper,
Mm-hmm.
talking about emotions and connections and like well-being.
Yeah. It's really a holistic approach to relationships and love.
Yeah. And I think people have this idea of like,
Yeah.
the Kama Sutra just being about these crazy positions.
And at the pretzel poses.
Yeah, like, can anyone actually do those?
Exactly. Some of them seem pretty improbable.
But the reality is there's like a range of positions in there.
Absolutely.
And some of them are, perfectly normal and straightforward.
Yeah. For everyday use.
Exactly. And the way Anne Hooper structures her book is like, she really breaks it down,
Wow.
She's got sections on like preparing for love, which we'll get into,
Mhm.
touching and caressing,
The importance of touch.
kissing and mouth play, all the
Yeah.
good stuff. And then she has sections dedicated to positions.
Yeah. From all the different sources.
Yeah. Yeah. She pulls from all these different sources.
She weaves them together.
Exactly. And then there's a whole part on before and after love. So it's like,
Right. Setting the stage and the aftermath.
yeah, it's like a holistic view of the whole
It really is a comprehensive guide.
experience.
Yeah.
But to really appreciate all of this, I
Mhm.
think we have to take a step back
Absolutely.
and look at the historical context.
Yeah.
Like how did different cultures and times approach these ideas of love and intimacy?
Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting.
Because it has definitely evolved, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
So Anne Hooper, when she was first reading the Burton and Arbuthnot translation of the Kama Sutra,
Mm-hmm. The classic translation.
she was struck by two things.
Okay. Interesting.
One, the humor.
Oh, there's humor in there.
There's humor, yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing was like the connection she saw with yoga
Oh, wow. Okay.
and its focus on mental and physical harmony.
Yeah. So there's this underlying principle of balance.
Exactly. And the Kama Sutra itself dates back to around
Mm-hmm.
8400, which is like, around the time of the late Roman Empire.
Yeah, wow. That's a long time ago.
And it views love as like this
Mm.
totally sensory experience,
Really interesting.
and it talks about the enjoyment of appropriate objects by the five senses of hearing, feeling, seeing, tasting, and smelling, assisted by the mind together with the soul.
Wow. So it's about engaging all of your senses.
Yes.
Bringing your whole being into the experience.
Your whole being into it.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's not just about the physical act.
Right. It's about the mind, the soul, the senses all working together.
Like a symphony
It is.
of the senses.
Yeah.
But then you fast forward to the Anangaranga,
Okay.
which was written much later, around AD 1172.
Okay. Big time jump.
And India had gone through, different social and religious influences by then.
Right. The context had changed.
So the Anangaranga's main aim was to prevent the separation of husband and wife.
Oh, so it was very much focused on preserving marriage.
Exactly. And the author,
Okay.
Kalyanamala,
Mm-hmm.
he mainly focuses on the husband's perspective,
Okay.
particularly in like his interactions with other women.
Okay. So it's about keeping the husband happy within the marriage.
Right. It's about like maintaining that stability
Yeah, marital harmony.
in the marriage.
Interesting.
And then we jump to North Africa
Okay.
with Sheikh Nafsawi's
Mhm.
The Perfumed Garden, which came out around the 15th century.
Okay, so even later.
And this one is very detailed,
Mm-hmm.
but it's definitely from a male perspective.
Yeah, that makes sense given the culture at the time.
It's like what a man should do with his wife or mistress.
Okay, so very much a male-centric viewpoint.
Very male-centric.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that even though it is male-centric,
Mm-hmm.
there are parts in there where he seems to get that certain positions are more pleasurable for women.
Oh, so he wasn't completely oblivious to female pleasure.
Right, he had some idea.
That's interesting because
Yeah.
it's often assumed that these older texts were just focused on male satisfaction.
Right, but he even advises against certain positions.
Oh, really?
If you are prone to, like,
Mhm.
rheumatic pains or sciatica.
So he was also concerned about physical well-being.
Yeah, it's like practical advice.
That's pretty thoughtful.
for the time.
So you've got the Kama Sutra with its sensory focus, then the Anangaranga focused on marital stability, and then the Perfumed Garden with its, very detailed instruction.
Right.
And then there's the Tao, which is like
Yes.
a whole other thing.
It's a different philosophical system altogether.
It really is, and it predates all the other texts.
Hmm. Ancient wisdom.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
ancient Chinese wisdom, and it's based on these 8 principles.
Okay, I'm curious. What are they?
Philosophy, revitalization, balance, diet, healing, art.
Wow, okay.
Sexual wisdom, mastery, and success.
So it's not just about sex.
No, it's about like living a good life.
Yeah, a holistic approach to well-being. And what's interesting is that the Chinese viewed sex
Mm-hmm.
as an art form.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is different from the Hindu and Arabic perspectives.
That's fascinating how different cultures can view something so fundamental in such different ways.
And they believe in prolonged stimulation
Oh, okay.
for heightened arousal.
So it's about taking your time, savoring the experience.
Exactly. It's not about
Right.
rushing through it.
It's a slower, more deliberate approach.
It is.
Interesting.
So we've seen how these different cultures view intimacy.
Right.
But one thing that Ann Hooper focuses on is this idea of preparing for love.
Yeah, there's a whole section in our book.
And it's not just about,
Right.
the act itself.
It's about setting the mood.
It is. It's
Yeah.
about creating the right atmosphere.
Yeah, like creating a sensual experience.
Exactly. And she draws from Vatsyana's insights for this.
From the Kama Sutra.
Yeah, and he talks about
Uh-huh.
having a well-perfumed room,
Okay, so scent is important.
a comfortable bed with a clean white cloth,
Fresh linens.
flowers and garlands,
Beautiful visuals.
soft candlelight,
Romantic lighting.
and fragrant ointments.
So engaging multiple senses.
It's all about appealing to all the senses.
It sounds very intentional.
Very intentional.
Yeah.
Like you're crafting an experience.
Right, like you're setting the stage for something special.
Exactly.
I like that.
And she even mentions specific things like,
Mhm.
incense and essential oils to scent the room.
Yeah.
Perfuming your skin with bath oils or shower gel.
I love that.
Having fresh flowers around.
Beautiful.
And using oils and lotions for massage.
Oh, yeah, that's a great way to enhance foreplay.
It's all about enhancing those senses.
Absolutely.
And even today,
Mm-hmm.
we do all these things
We do.
when we want to set a romantic mood.
Yeah, we light candles, we put on music,
Right.
we use aromatherapy.
Exactly. It's like these ancient ideas still resonate with us.
They do,
Mm.
because they tap into something fundamental about how we experience intimacy.
And there's this quote that she highlights
Okay.
from this section that says, "In all these things connected with love, everybody should act according to his own inclination."
I love that quote.
It's so important.
It emphasizes the importance of personal preference.
Yeah, like what works for one person
Right.
might not work for another.
Exactly. And that's okay.
It's about finding what you enjoy and what feels good for you.
Yeah, and communicating that to your partner.
Absolutely. Communication is key.
Always.
And this idea of personal preference,
Mm-hmm.
it really ties into the next topic, which is
Okay.
the significance of touch.
Touch is so important.
It really is.
Yeah.
And not just in sexual relationships.
Right. It's fundamental to human connection.
It is, the book even talks about how comatose patients can respond to touch.
Wow, that's powerful.
And babies who are touched frequently develop better.
Yeah, both emotionally and physically.
It's like a primary language
It is a way of communicating care and love.
of care and connection.
Yeah.
And of course, in intimate relationships,
Mm.
touch is super important.
Oh, absolutely.
And the book even describes
Mm-hmm.
this position called the side-by-side clasping position.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that.
It's a really simple one
Okay.
where you're just holding each other.
Like cuddling?
Yeah, like cuddling. And it's described as gentle and relaxed and reassuring.
Oh, that sounds nice.
And it's supposed to help with anxiety,
Really?
especially in the early stages of a relationship.
Yeah, when you're still getting to know each other.
It's a way to build trust and connection.
Without necessarily being overtly sexual.
Right. It's just about that physical closeness.
It's about feeling safe and secure.
And it's a good reminder that intimacy isn't always about
Little,
grand gestures.
it's often the small things that matter most.
Exactly. Sometimes it's just about those small moments of connection.
Those little touches that make you feel loved and cared for.
Yeah. And the book also gets into how different texts viewed women. And it's interesting because the Ananga
Yeah.
classifies women
Oh, really?
into 4 types.
Oh, I'm intrigued. What are the 4 types?
The Padmini, which is the lotus woman,
Okay.
the Chitrini, the art woman,
Mm-hmm.
the Shankini, which is the conch woman,
Okay.
and the Hastini, the elephant woman.
Wow. So they had a whole system of categorization
They did,
based on what?
based on like physical attributes and temperament.
So it was about both appearance and personality.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they describe the Padmini as
Okay.
having a complexion like the full moon
Okay. Radiant.
and a body that emits a fragrance like a Shiraz fragrant tree or a mustard flower.
Wow. So very fragrant and alluring.
And she has fine, fair skin
Okay.
and a sweet musical voice.
So it's a very idealized image of beauty.
Yeah, it's like the epitome of feminine beauty.
Yeah.
And then the Chitrini is described as being of medium height,
Okay.
with black hair,
Mm-hmm.
thin red lips,
Okay.
a neck resembling a shell, and a well-proportioned physique.
So a more balanced and harmonious beauty.
Yeah, it's like a different type of beauty.
Yeah. Each with its own unique qualities.
And it's interesting to see how these different
Yeah.
cultures and times viewed women and categorized
It
them.
reflects the societal norms and ideals of beauty.
Yeah, and it's definitely different from how we view women today.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Our understanding of gender and relationships has evolved so much.
but it's still interesting to look back
Yeah, to see where we've come from.
and to see how far we've come.
Exactly.
Now bringing things to a more modern perspective.
Okay.
The book also talks about condoms,
Right.
which is like
Back-
a
yeah.
crucial part
Absolutely essential for safer sex.
of safer sex.
Yeah.
And it emphasizes how important they are
Hmm.
for reducing the transmission of HIV and other STIs.
Right.
And it acknowledges that some people might have concerns.
Yeah, like reduced sensation.
About reduced sensation or like
interrupting the flow.
interrupting the moment. But it stresses that the protection offered by condoms
Yeah.
is worth it.
It's a crucial trade-off
It is.
for your health and the health of your partner.
Exactly. And it even gives a little guide
Okay.
on how to put on a condom correctly.
Which is important because a lot of people actually don't know how to do it properly.
Right.
Yeah.
Like squeezing out the air, rolling it down all the way, and holding the base when you withdraw.
Yeah, all those steps are crucial.
So it's like integrating this modern knowledge
Yeah.
into this historical context.
That's a responsible approach.
It is.
Yeah, blending ancient wisdom with modern practices.
And finally, there's this section called Before and After Love,
Oh, interesting.
which I thought was really fascinating.
Yeah, I'm curious about that one.
Because it shows that even back then,
Mhm.
they were thinking about like the whole experience.
Right. Not just the act itself, but what comes before and after.
Exactly. And the main principle is that those things that increase passion should be done first, and those for amusement should be done afterward.
So it's like a build-up and then a release.
Yeah, it's like you're prioritizing the buildup of intimacy
Right.
and arousal, and then you have time for relaxation and connection and playfulness afterwards.
I like that it's about creating a complete and satisfying experience.
It is.
Yeah.
So when you look at all of this,
Mm,
Anne Hooper's Kama Sutra, it's so much more
it is.
than just a book about positions.
Right. It's a journey through history and culture.
We've talked about the historical context, the importance of preparation, the power of touch, the different ways women have been viewed, and even modern concerns like safer sex.
It's really about understanding the multifaceted nature of intimacy
It is.
and how it's not just physical, but emotional and spiritual as well.
And I think these ancient writings can still teach us so much
They can.
about how to approach intimacy in a more holistic way.
Absolutely.
So for you listening at home, think about how this deep dive has maybe shifted your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
What resonated with you?
Yeah.
And what does that tell you about your own values and desires
That's a great question for self-reflection.
when it comes to intimacy and connection?
It is.
And that's something you can keep pondering
Yeah.
long after this deep dive is over.
Thanks for joining us today
On the deep dive.
on The Deep Dive.